All right, quick summary of week 3. We have learned how to clean our data set in very basic ways. We kicked out rows, we kicked out columns, we changed rows, we changed columns, we changed values, right, based on conditions. We also started summarizing and aggregating our data and creating the first sort of summary statistics and saving them in new data sets. And all these tasks are incredibly important. Any project you're going to be involved in is going to involve these basic data cleaning and data preparation tasks. And I want to just summarize them very briefly here because I think it's good to wrap your head around the different ways of thinking about how to clean your data. So in the course under section 4.8, I feature this graphic here, which I think is informative. So think about the select function that you've learned in terms of reducing the number of columns, right? Kicking out columns, kicking out variables you don't need, or just keeping some of them, right? So this is displayed visually here. From many columns, you reduce it to a few. The filter variable is used to filtering rows. So you're actually reducing the number of rows that you have in your data set. Remember, for example, we kicked out students in the political science faculty because we weren't interested in them for our analysis. So we just filtered them using the filter function. It's basically the same as reducing the number of rows. We use the arrange function to sort our data according to another value. For example, we sorted them by how long students were enrolled at the faculty, by the number of terms they have been at the university, using the arrange function. Now at the end, we used mutate to actually generate new variables or change existing variables, right? Very powerful function. And then lastly, we used summarize to condense information. So in the mutate here, you see you add a new column to your data set, something new either based on existing variable or something entirely new that you created using the mutate function. Now summarize actually reduces the number of rows that you have in some meaningful way. We, for example, created a new data set that contained the mean grades of students by the course and the faculty and reduced the overall data set. So I think this is a nice sort of visual summary of the type of commands that we have learned today and how we've sort of applied cleaning the data. Now, as always, we put together here class exercises for you. Section 4.9 has them. It's all based on the data that we made available for you, so they should be fairly straightforward. Have a look at the code in the class, jump back in the video to some of the code that I introduced. This should be fairly straightforward. Again, we have outlined some exercises or some things you can do with your own data set. You should have identified last week, right? Get that data set into R and try to explore it and change things around using the functions that we've introduced here. As always as well, I've introduced further resources here. Again, just scratching the top of the iceberg. There's a lot these functions can do, and you're likely to encounter your own issues and problems with your data sets as you continue to clean them and manage the data. I encourage you to go online. Just a quick Google search will get you a long way, right? How to do this and this in R, and there's a huge community that will help you out. But as a first step, also here's some chapters that I linked in the below. All right, see you next week.